really do.
How could you not?
I don't know.
Alan Silvestri, bringing it in.
I always liked him as a good cat. Oh wait, that's Sylvester.
That was a terrible joke.
Come on.
No, I'm
What
not
up,
giving you that one.
everybody? And welcome to Talkin Geek Season 3, Episode 5. I am your host, Aaron, with the... I don't know. I got nothing right now for an adjective. I lost it because he just took away my one Sylvester joke.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe I'm just, the buzzkill. Buzz
Buzzkill McGee.
Killington Robert. That's me.
Mr. Buzzkill McGee himself.
Yep. Here,
Robert,
that's
how you
what
been,
I'm
man?
here for. I have been good. Obviously, the world is insane.
Yeah. Dr. Doom
you know.
hasn't taken over yet. He's on his way.
Correct. Well, I mean, I've heard 0 corona cases in, what is it, Latveria?
Yep.
Is that?
Yep.
So,
0 cases. But their death rate went up about 200%. But hey, it's okay.
what was it? I think that was one of my favorite ones from memes from a while ago. It was like a North Korea meme. And it was like, it was just tracking coronavirus cases. And so it was like 10:01, 1 case. 10:07, 0 cases. 10:15, 1 case. 10:20, 0 cases. And you're like, I see what you did there.
Yep. Same thing. Dr. Doom's good like that. He keeps it under control.
Right,
you
yeah.
know.
0
I'm glad.
cases.
A lot of robots running around, though. I mean, I don't know how about that. A lot of Doom bots.
We'll survive.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
It'll be fantastic.
Like Mr. Fantastic.
What?
Oh, there we go.
Thanks for putting the, just in case anyone didn't get the joke.
You never know. They might not have. I mean, I don't know. No one watched that movie. So, guys, I hope you all
they
are enjoying.
definitely should not watch the movie, but you can still know what Fantastic Four
That is
is.
true. That is true. So, guys, on today's show, we do have our Take Our Money segment, our videos from the net, as well as our normal geek news. And Robert has a question from the audience that we got earlier this week, since we know we did take some time off. Well, not time off, but Father's Day did push us out.
We did like a special episode,
yeah,
which I thought was we had a fun time.
I did. I liked it.
I didn't have to be in the same room with you, so that was perfect.
No, and I actually had a cool background, and his was all blurred, and he couldn't unblur that really.
Well, no, maybe I blurred it on purpose. I didn't want people to know where I was. It was an
image back there.
Secret location.
See, he was at Latveria talking to Dr. Doom. That's what it was. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start up with Take My Money.
Shut up and take my money.
That dance is for you, Ryan, because he tells me I have such a. He's like you're the dorkiest dork. Yeah, I am.
Well, thank you, Ryan, for telling him that, because now he's not gonna stop.
No, I'll do it forever.
So, because I always get told that I always go first. I think
still
Robert
on
should
this?
go first. Yeah,
Cool.
2 weeks later.
Cool. Yeah.
first,
So the first
like yours.
the item that I came across is an item from my childhood, and it is the card game version of the Oregon Trail.
So we're gonna constantly die of dysentery.
Right. Well, and you got to decide. Are you gonna try and ford the river? Are wolves gonna eat all of your supplies? It's I remember playing that game in like 3rd grade or whatever, and there was it was like you had to choose what supplies you're gonna bring with you, choose like your family, and it was like I mean, very rarely did you make it to the end of the game without dying.
You almost never did.
But one of the best parts is when you died, you got to decide what was on your tombstone. So then you got to write funny stuff. I don't know exactly how the card game works, but I came across it and I was like, I kind of want this because I want to meet up with a guy named Terry and hurl insults at him, and then I'll die from dysentery.
So if I remember correctly, because I know I had this game at one point.
But at
at
least Frank got my joke.
He did, because it went right over my head. I just, done. But it did.
Dissing Terry.
Oh, God.
Thank you.
Terrible.
It was absolutely terrible, but thank you.
So, first of all, I want to be able to say, because this game's harsh. This game's mean.
Absolutely.
I've played it. I've actually played it, because I think
The card
I either
game?
have it.
Yeah, okay.
I think I have it, or my ex has it. I don't know. But, see? I told you I'd be able to fit that laugh in somewhere. I told him. But that's the game. Whenever you play it just laughs at you.
That was the video game. Like literally, people died all left and right.
So, that game is like what? I think it's like 16 bits. It's like an old game.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was looking for a copy one day, not a cracked copy, so like just a regular. I'm gonna go buy it. It was like $200 or $300 because everybody wants it. They don't make it anymore.
Right.
I'm like, this is ridiculous. I can go find. I'm not gonna do this. And then I played this one, but yes, you can write what you want on your tombstone because it's all dry erase. Like all the stuff is dry erase marker, and they give you a little marker. And you just write whatever you want on there. It's fun.
Yeah, it was only like $20 or something on Amazon, so it's not bad.
Well, Target has it too. I think that's where we got it from.
Yeah, you can play. I think it's like for 2 to 6 players, and I think there's like a co-op mode, kind of.
I think I haven't played in so long because like
I've never played that game.
You didn't play
that one.
No, Frank's older.
I'm from Texas, man.
Well, he's older.
You
too.
know my ex.
Yeah, but I'm from Texas,
And
not Oregon.
I'm not from Oregon either, but I still played the game Oregon Trail. But I just remember it was like, every time it was like you came to a river and
you drank the water for some reason.
And it's like, do you want to try and convert your wagon into a raft to float across the river, or wait for the river to go down, so that you can afford it? And it's like, and by the way, you have supplies for the next 3 seconds.
And by the time you read this, you were out of supplies.
And so that it was like, you have attempted to float across the river and everyone died. Yeah. And it's like, you have decided to wait for the river and you have been attacked and died. It's like,
that game was so unforgiving.
It's like, all right, cool.
That game was so unforgiving.
So many people die along the way, and you're just like, peace out, Uncle Terry.
He was bit by a snake. Wait, what? Why are you messing with snakes?
Yeah, you did. There was a lot of snake bites in that game.
I remember that. Oh my god, that game was hard. But
so yeah,
a few years ago I looked for it.
Some childhood memories there. So that was what I came across. I'm like, I kind of want this. I want to play it.
That's fun. It's a fun game. I thought you played it with us when me and her dated. Oh, okay. Well, maybe I don't. Maybe it was a different ex. So the other one your wife sent in.
Yeah.
Which is a personalized comic book. It looks like.
That.
So
yeah.
It looks like you can have it completely personalized. It's from Etsy, and it looks cool. Like
different
you can
illustrations, and
I like it because like you can like you can submit pictures. You can basically show like if you were out on a town kind of thing,
right? And it'll basically like comic book it up. It'll draw
exactly
almost like an artist rendering of you, and then you can I'm assuming you can write your own story, or they can probably fill it in for you, and you can pick some templates or something. I don't know exactly, but
cool.
It kind of looks fun.
Anniversary or first date or
so
maybe not first date.
No, you don't shoot high on the first date because then she's gonna expect higher every time afterwards.
All right.
It's like if you take
Aaron's got this down. See, like the first time you do the the dishwasher, you load it totally wrong, and that way the expectation is set.
Yep.
This guy's gonna jack it up every time I ask him to do it.
You can take relationship advice from him.
You can see what you do is you take her on the first date to McDonald's, set the bar really low, and then when the next date you go to a fancier fast food, then you go to a restaurant.
Wait, what's fancy? What's a fancier fast food? Is there a hierarchy here?
There is.
Like Jack in the Box, Wendy's. Where do they fit in?
No. Well, Wendy's and Jack in the Box is like below McDonald's. That's if you're trying to get rid of her.
Correct answer.
If you're trying to get rid of her, you take her to Jack in the Box.
Okay.
And then she'll be gone. I promise.
Yep.
McDonald's and Wendy's are on the same level.
Okay.
Taco Bell kind of dips depending which Taco Bell. Sometimes it's below.
It also depends on time of day. Like if your first date is at 2 a.m, Taco Bell is the place to go.
That is true. That is the place to go. But if it's like you're trying to wow her, no, that's like Jack in the Box level. Because if you're trying to get rid of her, because the food's terrible.
So if you take her to Whataburger, she's a keeper.
Yeah,
Texas people might get that. I don't like Whataburger either. Whataburger is also on that same level.
What about Chick-fil-A?
See, Chick-fil-A is that little just above, I would say. It's terrible. It's not good food apparently to Robert. So
what about Dairy Queen?
Dairy Queen's
you
like
can
a
get ice cream,
Whataburger.
so
that's like the after one, I would say. That would be after you took her out to the fancy place, your McDonald's. You take her to Dairy Queen next.
Wait,
not fancy.
We haven't gotten above McDonald's in this scenario yet. That's what I'm wondering.
Okay, so after McDonald's, I would say
Valentine's Day. Let's go to Dairy Queen.
I would say Chick-fil-A is above McDonald's. So that'd be your next fancy one.
All right.
And then really there's a spider. So
what about like
what else is there?
There's In-N-Out.
In-N-Out's as bad as Whataburger to me.
It's worse.
I've never had it.
Five Guys.
Five Guys is
Does that count as fast food?
No,
I don't know because it's got to have a drive-through, right?
I would say it has to have a drive-through.
Okay, so like Freddy's. What about Freddy's steak burgers? That's pretty decent.
Freddy's would be better than McDonald's.
Yeah,
Freddy's.
I would take that
Las
one.
Palapas, because to me that's fast food.
Some of them have drive-throughs though. Not all of them.
Oh, I thought all of them did.
Not all of them. And some of them are closed on Sundays, which that's just
same thing as Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, I don't.
See, so the Chick-fil-A, that's why they're higher.
I need food on Sunday.
So
okay.
Culver's. Culver's is would be higher.
Culver's, yeah. There's one Culver's in San Antonio.
Yeah.
It's actually a Wisconsin company, so I'm very familiar with it because I'm from Illinois, which is on the border of Wisconsin.
So
Yeah, Culver's is good.
Culver's
You
would
know
be
what I
like
hate about
the
Culver's,
the fancy one.
Like, you ask for a burger.
Go
and they're
away,
like,
spider. I don't
Wait,
like spiders.
you want it in a basket? Yes. Wait, do you want that a double? Yes. You want well bacon?
Yeah.
Yes. You want
Yeah.
like, it's like a freaking question for everything.
Yeah, they got to make sure you get your order right. But that's why they're the fancier one.
And then they mess it up.
And you get that frozen custard. That's some good stuff. Some good
I'm
stuff.
trying to think. So
Those cheese curds.
I would say Culver's is a fancier one
Okay.
because you can look nicer there. So there you go.
I have a serious question for you. Okay. So I need to know, is this with Jack in the Box or above it?
Which one?
Sonic.
That depends.
No, it doesn't.
No, it does.
No, it
because
doesn't.
I've had great conversations with girls at Sonic. We don't order shit except like a drink, and then we just sit there and talk.
I'm not talking about where
So-
this is like for a date. I'm talking about quality.
Oh, quality, it's down there. It's
yeah,
down
it's
there.
at the bottom.
It's terrible.
What about Arby's?
I don't do Arby's. I think Arby's is down there too, though. I think I've had it once, and so that would be down there.
I've never eaten Arby's.
Get like a beef and cheddar, and then
I don't
just
like beef. So
throw up.
No, that's down there for sure. I would say Sonic Food is down there.
This has
But if you
been
want her on a
dissing
good
on
date-
fast food and ensuring none of them ever advertise on our show.
Nope. But Culver's. Culver's. I just
Yeah.
gave you the
We love
points,
you,
man.
Culver's.
If you
Butterburgers.
want that fancy date, you take her to Culver's
Yeah.
because that's like the high end fast food. Then you take her to a small, nice restaurant.
Red
like Denny's.
Robin.
Wait, what? No, that's too fancy. You gotta start her out with Denny's. Denny's or IHOP. That's her next date.
No.
Denny's or IHOP.
Wait,
You gotta start at
wait.
the bottom of it.
You're taking her to a breakfast place? What kind of message are you trying to send here?
No. That's you go for dinner. You can have dinner at Denny's.
No, you can't.
Why not?
Because their food is nasty.
Oh, so does that go to the same level as Jack in the Box for the restaurant part, or what?
Absolutely. Like, at least go to gyms.
I hate gyms. Anyway, so we've just secured no sponsorship from any food source ever.
I love Cracker Barrel.
Oh, God. Cracker Barrel's nasty. I don't want Cracker Barrel either.
Oh my god, I got Cracker Barrel one time, and on the gravy it had the number imprinted on it. So I guess whatever the packaging was in, because you know it's in a package.
Of course it
And
is.
it's like, I don't know if they heated up wrong, but you saw
Oh,
like
that's
7, 8,
fantastic.
whatever the serial number was. I was like,
They just
what the
wanted to make sure that you knew it was fresh, bro.
it was so fresh, it's still in the package.
Oh, that's
Why is there plastic?
disgusting.
So anyway, okay,
So
so
guy just melted the plastic out with the gravy.
so this has been Aaron's dating advice.
yeah.
Make sure you follow it, and you'll have a girlfriend.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Do you have a girlfriend?
My cat.
I think that speaks for itself.
I was on, ladies and gentlemen.
You know what?
In case you haven't noticed, Aaron always says, "My ex this." and
I took
ex
my
that."
I took my wife. Our first date, I took her to a nice Italian restaurant. All right, so that's
First of all,
yeah. What's up?
Olive Garden doesn't count.
Oh, we did not go to Olive Garden.
Thank you. I got to make sure.
I said a nice Italian restaurant. Thank you very much.
Was it here or up north?
No,
or what?
it's here.
Oh, which one did you take her to?
Two Steppies.
Where's that?
It's over at like 1604 and Gilbo.
Taqueria Jalisco is not Italian,
No.
sir.
Two Steppies.
Never heard of that one.
Yeah, well, it's good.
I think the ones I know which I hate are Olive Garden and Spaghetti Warehouse. Yeah,
Olive,
that one's good.
Olive Garden is exactly what it is. Like you're
Fast
not
food.
allowed to hate it. You know exactly what it is if you go in there. If you go in there expecting it to be like high quality Italian food, that's on you.
No, I go in there expecting.
Right. You
So
get your friggin' breadsticks and salad and call it a friggin' day.
true. Again, securing that we're never gonna get sponsorship from any restaurant except maybe Culver's now. So, moving on. So that was. You could. Where are we on? We're on mine now, I think. So
I think we made it to
mine-
yours.
Mine, of course, is a little more popular, which I think we should go for Last of Us 2, which did just drop this past Friday for the PS4. It's the reason I'm mentioning it is because right now it has actually gotten a lot of heat, and people are rating it really, really low.
Yeah, we talked about that on the last show.
Did we talk about last show?
Yeah, on Father's Day show.
Oh, that's right. I did mention it. So I would recommend, check it out, though, because now that was a week ago. Now that it's been a week, it actually has gotten a lot more good reviews. So it's going back up.
Did
So
you
definitely
shut
check it
up and give them your money?
Yeah, I actually have it.
How are you enjoying it so far?
I uploaded the game to my PS4 and I haven't touched it since.
Awesome. So
But it's actually out of the package at least.
immediately you were like, "Oh, I'm so down to play this game," and you just didn't touch it.
I'm down to play this game. All my friends are on Xbox. I'm gonna play an Xbox game for a minute.
All right.
So Xbox
cool.
is still better, but I will be playing it this week, so I can definitely check it out.
Cool.
So definitely check those out, guys, and hopefully you enjoy all of it. You got Oregon Trail, you got a comic book you can be in,
Right.
and The Last of Us 2. So you got a lot of different things. You got a video game, a board game, and just something to enjoy. Sit back and talk about your first date at McDonald's. You can put that in your comic book.
This public service announcement for everyone out there: don't take a date to McDonald's.
Take a date to McDonald's. Okay, guys. So the next segment, of course, is videos from the net.
Woo!
So we got 2 videos this week.
Yeah,
We got
you go
mine and
first.
yours. Oh, I go first?
Yeah, because you're complaining about never getting to go first anymore. So just freaking go first. Jeez.
I love you too. So my video I found the other day, and I thought it was really funny. It's basically starts off with 2 guys kind of fighting, and of course they add stuff to it. Check it out.
Round 1. Fight! You win. Perfect.
Okay, and I love that one. It may have been the whole video too, because it's a short video.
Yeah, it is a short video, but it's kind of fun. I mean, so this is you're gonna probably make fun of me. So is that like? There's like 2 main. There's like Mortal Kombat, and then what's the other one?
Street Fighter, and then the other
Street
big one's
Fighter.
Dead or Alive.
Yeah, so those are the 2 I was thinking of:
Okay.
Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. So I don't know which one that's.
It's from Street Fighter.
Okay.
That one's Street Fighter.
I was like, it doesn't feel like Mortal Kombat because that's the one where it's like finish it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right.
No, this was a Street Fighter parody. I like it because it's like you could tell there's a certain like frame where you're that guy.
There's an extra joke there because they're fighting on the street. See?
Yeah. I need to add that now. I like it though because like there's one part if you pause it or just look close enough, you could tell where the guy's like, oh crap, and then he's done.
Yeah, he just gets the crap beat out of him.
He does. So I love it. I just love it for that one little part though too, because it's yep, that's the moment he knows I screwed up.
Yep, exactly.
And then he's done.
Exactly.
So then moving on to your video.
Yeah, so a buddy of mine sent this to me, and it's basically an anime. You're following a character who unfortunately discovers an unfortunate truth about himself. So take a minute and watch this.
Hey, stay back, all right?
All right. Stay back? What are you talking about, stay back? I'm just as cold as him, ain't I? He acting like I'm a side character. Nah. I'm tripping. I ain't no side.
I love it.
Yeah, I was laughing my butt off. And I mean, obviously it's set like in an anime, but it fits to any genre of anything. It's just, this guy's discovering that, oops, he's a side character.
I should have known his name was in the title.
I think my favorite part was when it's like the fight happens. And he's like, where'd they go? Oh, they're probably just fighting too fast for me to see. Oh no, I am a side character.
I like when the guy's like, "Who is he? Don't hurt him or something."
Right? It's like, leave him out of this.
Leave him out of this. He's like, what do you mean I don't know who I am?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Terrible, the poor guy. So I love that one. So definitely hope you checked out both those videos, guys, and watch the full ones in descriptions below. And of course, send them a like if anything if you like those videos. So I think we'll go ahead and move straight into our news part since we didn't have a third video.
The news.
Exactly. So the geek news from around the world, or geek news today. There you go.
Uh-oh.
I have not had enough to drink.
That's an appropriate response.
I think so.
Yeah.
So geek news today.
Right.
So we got a lot of stuff that happened.
There were a few things.
I think one was funny though, because the first one, I think some quarantine fun, like you had put it earlier.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So what is it? Quibi, which is like a video service, has announced that they are doing a Princess Bride remake, but not really. It's basically just a bunch of celebrities in quarantine doing it's actually for charity. They're just like reenacting some different scenes from the Princess Bride, and it's going to be they're going to there's a bunch of celebrities that are involved. They're going to do like different scenes, throughout. And I did see that Fred Savage is returning as the grandson. So the person that's getting the story told to him. Obviously, Peter Falk, who originally played the grandfather, has passed away. And I'm trying to remember. I think it was. I think Rob Reiner is who was the original director of The Princess Bride is going to be reading as the grandfather in
cool.
this. So it's not a true remake. They're just having some fun, hopefully raising some money for charity, and so it's one of those movies that is kind of a perfect movie.
It is.
And
mess with it.
Yeah, I know that there was like a story a couple years ago where people were like, oh, can we remake Princess Bride? And it's like, what are you going to do to make it better?
You
like
can't.
You don't want to put more money into it, and like because part of its charm and appeal is that like the rodent of unusual size is clearly a midget who is drunk. True story, by the way.
Interesting.
And so it's like why would we want to update this and like do a CGI ROUS? No, it's perfect that it's like this is exactly what it's supposed to be.
It
So
is
don't
like
update
a solid movie. Like you really can't get better.
No.
You had a perfect cast.
It's perfect.
I mean, like you can't beat that cast.
Carrie
You
Ellis,
can't.
Robin Wright. You had Andre the Giant. Mandy Patinkin, Sean Wallace, or Wallace Shawn. Wallace Shawn.
Okay.
Yep.
And all of them pretty much had great careers after that, didn't they? Like a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you mean by a
really
great
good.
career.
They're good. They
You
had
know?
good lives.
Robin Wright has gone on to some acclaim in things like House of Cards, and then she was in Wonder Woman. She played General
that's right,
Antiope.
Carrie Ellis did a lot, hasn't he?
Carrie Ellis,
got his
he's
name right.
been kind of in and out. Like, I mean, he was in Saw. He was in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Twister.
Yep. He was in like Glory. So he's been in a lot of stuff for sure. He's not like a star, but he's definitely someone people know.
Oh yeah. I mean, at least two of his movies always. That's how I always look at it. Like people know two movies. They know Princess Bride and they know Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Sure.
Those two, I'm like, you always know him.
Well, Saw's pretty famous.
Saw is really famous. I keep forgetting he's in it though, but it's been years since I've watched the Saw films. So
I've never seen any of them.
the first two were the only good ones.
I've heard that the first one's good, but I know the twist, and so it's kind of like I still want to watch it to see if it works with it, because like The Sixth Sense still works even knowing the twist. Like the first time I saw it, I knew what the twist was, and I still it was still a good movie. So I kind of want to watch Saw knowing the twist and see if I still enjoy it, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
Definitely, that's definitely want to watch.
Yeah.
So some other news. Microsoft is closing all their brick and mortar stores.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting, I thought. Right? I mean, to me, it's just one of those, like, I don't know. I don't have... Oh, that's not what I wanted. I thought it was the other one.
There it is. There it is.
But yeah, so they only had... Because I talked about this a little bit online, and not many people knew this, but they only had like 80 stores, and that was it. So they didn't have a lot of brick and mortar
There was
stores.
one here in San Antonio at La Cantera.
Yep. It was only in the last like 5 years or so, I think, that it's been there, and that one's closing down. And they're only going to keep like 3 or 4 open, but they're going to turn them into like showcases now.
Well, like my favorite thing about that store is literally directly across from the Apple store. And I was like, are you trying to compete with Apple? Because in a brick and mortar setting, that's not going to work. Like Microsoft is absolutely a competitor of Apple, and like, but their niche is not, I'm going to go to the store and like that's, So I think it makes sense, especially obviously everything that's going on in the world. I can't imagine that they were very profitable before the pandemic, and now that it's hit, like there's no reason to keep them open.
No, because I mean, a lot of their stuff, like if you have warranties, you just mail it in and they mail it back to you in a couple of weeks. And it's pretty quick anyway. So like I would never go to the store. Like I had issues with my Xbox. I mailed it in, and no joke, within 2 weeks I had it back already. I'm like, so I can live without it for 2 weeks. That's no big deal. I have other consoles.
2 weeks.
I have another Xbox, so I wasn't even worried. I have a backup Xbox. So like, why would I go to the store to have them mail it in? Because they don't fix anything on site. They're gonna mail it in for you. So it's like, it's a waste of gas and all that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see the only 4, I think they said 4 stores, one in Washington. I'm assuming Seattle, Washington is where it's probably going to be. And there's like 3 others they said they are keeping open to do like showcasings and like to show off stuff, I guess. And
So probably like what, New York, LA, and
Seattle. I don't know where the other one would be because it's not here.
How many companies do you think are actually just using the pandemic as an excuse to like shut it down.
A lot, I think. But I don't know. I mean, some of them are probably barely in the black, and now they're in the red. So
Yeah, I mean,
bad.
it's whether it's a small business or a big business. I mean, I think that the world has been moving away from brick and mortar stores for a while. Obviously, with the online shopping. I mean, Amazon and Etsy, and these are some of the biggest companies in the world that offer online only experiences. So that's not really all that surprising, but. There are, there's still some places that you're always going to need that physical experience, but like restaurants operate pretty much a razor thin margin, profit margin to begin with. And so now you're talking, 2-3 months of no income, and unless you own your building, you're still paying rent. And so all of those things, I mean, there's a lot of businesses that are definitely suffering, and I'm not going to get into a whole rant on capitalism.
That's
but
another thing that we have to start getting our other show going. Just saying.
maybe.
Wow.
The other news that I wanted to talk about too, and it's not very big news because I think it's happened about 15 years ago or so.
Okay.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant
little
Ninja
spoiler,
Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I should have put that on here. So Ninja Turtles.
Pause. Before you get into the news story, who's your favorite?
Donatello.
This guy.
I know Turtles. I know my
Donatello's
Turtles.
the best.
Yeah, for me, it's Donatello, Michelangelo, Leonardo, and then Raphael. Because Raphael and Leonardo kind of tie sometimes.
I would go Donatello, Leonardo, and then Michelangelo, Raphael. Raphael's easily my least favorite, but I think part of that is just I never really related to him because I was never the angry kid.
I was never that angry.
And so Donatello is kind of like the nerdy, tech guy who is always thinking about things before they, the strategist and all that stuff. So yeah, Donatello is always my favorite. And then I did like Leonardo. I think it more came down to with him and Michelangelo. I like them both about the same. Yeah. But if it comes down to it, I'd rather have 2 samurai swords than two nunchucks. So I was like, Leonardo's cool. Plus, I like blue better than orange. So
I'll give you that.
It was kind of like, I'll go Leonardo. That was the tiebreaker for him. And then Raphael was always last.
Yeah, he's always down there.
Although sais are a cool weapon.
And they have a funny background because they actually used to be to plant seeds in the ground. They originally were for. Because they would stab it in the ground, twist it to help put the dirt on it, and pull it out.
And now you can plant death in your enemies.
You can.
Put it in your enemy.
That's how you take them out. You plant the seed of death in them.
Didn't mean to cut you off, but get into the news story.
So, to cover it, a few years ago, now we're talking like maybe 10 years ago.
Yep.
They actually killed off Donatello. Actually, I don't know if you knew that.
I thought they killed off Splinter.
That's recent now.
Okay.
So they've killed off the character roster. What I'm getting at has changed.
Right.
Donatello died, was in Metalhead for a while.
Right,
now he's back as Donatello. And about 5 issues ago or so, they actually did kill Splinter off. So the last few... I don't have a sad one. That's all I got. So the last few issues have been the Turtles kind of dealing with it on their own personal level. Raphael obviously doing the anger stuff, And they even comment on it, he's kind of been the angry one. But, that's how he's always been. I'm kind of glad they didn't change their personality so much. It's we know how they're all going to handle it.
Sure.
So they have now added, though, a 5th turtle. A female turtle is now coming back on, which they did try this about 10 to 15 years ago as well. Yeah. So she's going to be joining the crew. And I don't know the full story for her, but she's already going to come out in issue 104, I believe, or 105.
And I thought the article I was reading... is that there's actually it's not even a turtle, it's like someone else that's joining their clan, so it's actually going to be 6 people or 6 beings, because I guess they're not people.
See, and that's what I was trying to figure out, because the picture I found of her, she's almost wearing Wolverine claws. And
no, this one's not a female. The link that you sent me was there's a
the wolf right there.
Yeah. The story's about him joining.
Is it him joining?
She's already been part of the team.
Maybe I saw it wrong then.
Yeah.
So they're getting another one. So it's gonna be a wolf now, and I think they're gonna use him to replace Splinter. Seems like.
Yeah, and I think he was originally he was a member of the Foot Clan, I believe, and then, converted basically, and now they've broken off from their clan that they're now, and they've renamed it the Splinter Clan, so in honor of their dead father, and this wolf is joining the Splinter Clan.
So here's one thing I wanted to ask, and I want to ask you guys in the comments to comment this.
Yes.
And I want to ask you.
Okay.
My thing was I always hated the idea of killing Splinter. That was not because it's like the whole father theme, but to me he was always the conscience of the group.
Yeah.
So not knowing, we both haven't read all the story, I'm sure. by
Yeah,
now.
no.
Do you think, let's say we don't, since we don't know, and if you do know, please let us know, of course.
Right.
Do you think the Turtles would have split up though, if you would have written it, or if you would have seen like how it's played out over the years?
No, so I think that I think that Splinter has always been what kept them a family. But I think that depending on how you do it,
Yeah.
I think that and I think you would write it this way in most things, is that his death is what's going to ultimately bring them closer together as brothers. That's it's a trope. I mean, that's kind of the standard, okay, you kill off the mentor character, you kill off, whoever it is. And now they, that you learn a lesson from it. So I
Right.
think, it would be kind of like okay, we're going to kill off Splinter. It's going to fracture the team at first,
Right.
and they're going to realize that they have to be a family, they have to be brothers in order to get through this, and ultimately they're going to realize that that was the lesson he was trying to teach them their whole lives, was be a family, be brothers. And so now in his death they're going to finally learn that lesson. For the final time. That's if I'm writing it. It's cliche, but that's what I'm writing.
That'd be cool. That's what I was curious. And the same to everybody else. Like, how would you have written it? Or let us know what exactly happened. I know I'm far behind on all of it. I think I'm like a good 20, 30 issues behind, honestly. I was trying to catch up, and I fell behind again.
Yeah. I never really read the comics. I mean, honestly, like when it comes to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I've always just loved their like TV show and video game stuff. I never really got into the comics. Even like I've seen those live action movies from like the early 90s, but I didn't see the ones that Michael Bay just did a couple years ago, because I was like, no, I don't need Michael Bay's version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I already saw his version of Transformers, and I don't like that. So
yeah, you avoided a big bullet right there. Like, don't get me wrong, they're okay, but they have a few flaws in it, and it's almost one of those like plot convenience. And it's very blatant.
Sure.
That it's like, we're not even hiding this. This is just plot convenience.
Just do it.
Yeah. So I hated them, but that's a whole nother story.
There you go.
So, but I just want to know what y'all thought. And again, let me know what you guys think. Do you think they did it right? Because again, I think it was about 4 or 5 issues that they haven't been together, it seems like. Now they're coming back together. So let us know what you think. Did they deal with the situation right? Did Raphael, kill too many people maybe? Did Leonardo just meditate for 5 issues? And we're just seeing him there meditating?
Michelangelo's just off eating pizzas.
Right, comes back as a
going to a party, and
he comes back drunk and everything.
I don't know. What would Donatello be doing? Donatello is like the only one having a healthy response.
I think he would be like, I really think for like a week or so, he'd be like, man, this bites. Like, he'd be down. But I think he would start building stuff. And then I think he would have like not an arsenal, but he'd have like all these new gadgets all of a sudden. Like, when did you do that? Oh, when Splinter died, I just.
Yeah, it also feels like he'd be the one that would reconnect with Leonardo and cause him then to bring the group back together.
Yeah,
And
I
when
really
are they
see
gonna
that.
change their names?
From their, what do you mean? Like
They're
they're.
no longer teenagers.
I think they're still teenagers. I think they still have them around that teenage age still.
They're
I
just
don't think they've
always
adulted 'em.
teenagers.
They've been around for how long?
They're just always teenagers.
Spider-Man's been around for how long? But he keeps calling him a kid.
I know. But
Who's he?
You.
Me?
Yeah. Spider-Man's not a kid.
Which one?
It's Peter Parker.
Spider-Man's already
Sometimes he is.
He's already a professor and shit.
Yeah. He's a professor.
A professor of
professor.
sucking.
Language.
I got it. But I was too slow because I was on the other bank. But anyway, guys, so let us know what you think. The other comic kind of related news, Henry Cavill. You're the ones for names. I give
Henry
up on names.
Cavill? That's
I
the
want to say
name
Cavill,
you can't
'cause I
say?
want to say Cavill.
Why does he get like Cruella DeVille over here?
That's why I get
It's
confused.
not
with.
that hard. Henry Cavill. It's so easy. Yes,
Cavill. It looks like
he
Cavill.
wants to play Superman, and it seems like Warner Brothers is going to maybe let him continue doing it.
Yeah. I mean, so I know we both have said we don't care for the Snyder stuff, like how dark it is. Do you think he'll be a good Superman if we can lighten it up, though? Would you still watch him?
I think he is absolutely fine at being Superman. I think that the interpretation that Zack Snyder gave us in Man of Steel was actually a very interesting version of, like someone who is coming to grips with his powers and with humanity. And I think honestly they just rushed into the death of Superman storyline in BVS way too much, and then bringing him back in Justice League the way they brought him back was really dumb.
Yeah.
So I like Henry Cavill, and I think he could play the big blue Boy Scout, and he could do a good job of that, and I'm on board for that. So if that's the version they're going to give us, I'm on board for it. I don't want any more conversations with his parents, whether it's Pa Kent or Ma Kent telling him, the world doesn't, you don't owe the world anything. I'm done with it. You have superpowers. You do owe the world something. With great power comes great responsibility.
He needs Uncle Ben.
He does. I'm so tired. Like, both of his parents were like, screw this, screw the world. Like, care only about your happiness. And it's like, that's not Superman. And so it felt so off to me that it's like he doesn't have anyone in his life, because even Russell Crowe playing Jor-El is telling him, like, leave the world alone. Like, he has no one in his life telling him to be a hero. Like, it was so frustrating.
I feel like Uncle Ben just needs to come up there and be like, great power comes great responsibility. And then just leave. Like, just okay.
Yeah,
I don't know why this old man just came and told me that, but he's right.
Absolutely. Bring Martin Sheen in from the
oh God, no.
Amazing Spider-Man series.
That was terrible. He was okay, but he never said it. He never said the line.
No, Cliff Robertson is the only one that got to say it, and I think he has since passed away. That's why I went with Martin Sheen.
I didn't know that. That's a good point. I mean, I kind of agree with you, because the whole thing is this Superman and what, from what you've read, like you read the original comics, or the original kind of Christopher Reeves kind of growing up with.
Yeah.
And this one is based off of, I believe it's Earth 2 or 3 Superman, where he is. But this is how the parents are. They just tell him that, like, do whatever. And when he moves to Metropolis, he actually joins like a football team there. And they're like, oh, well, you're puny. You're going to get your back broken, blah, blah, blah. I make fun of him because he's tiny. He's not built like a football player. Mm-hmm. And they're like, sign these waivers. And then, of course, he becomes a quarterback because he's so good. And then they're like wrestling or something. He does all this stuff where he knows he's going to win so he can make all this money. And then he gets an application from the Daily Bugle to be like a news reporter. And he's like, why do I want to do this? And he just throws it away, essentially. But he's like he also figures out like quantum physics. He's like, apparently he's highly intelligent in this too.
That's fine.
So he figures out like quantum physics, and he goes and he's talking to this one place, and they're like, oh, well, you don't have a doctorate. You have a bachelor's from a community college. And he's like, yeah. And he sees like the formula, and he's like,
yeah, because he couldn't get a scholarship to UCLA or like,
that's
I mean,
where
come
I was
on.
Kind of like, that's weird.
This is so dumb.
But he leans over and he sees they're working on this equation, and he just writes something on a napkin. And he's like, just do me a favor, take this to those doctors or whatever, scientists. And if you don't like their answer, then I'll just leave and I'll never bother you again. Mm-hmm. He solves the problem.
Yeah, of course.
And then there's like, here's a 7 million figure thing or whatever, $700,000, whatever it is.
I don't care.
And so now he's a doctor, he's a football player.
This sounds
he's
terrible.
Like, yeah, he's like all around like, I have all this money.
So bad.
And that's why I think they were following, because the parents were like, you don't owe the world anything. Like, you don't need to be a superhero. But he uses all the powers to get all this money now.
It sounds so bad. The only alternative take on Superman I'm interested in is Red Sun.
Right.
Like,
I love
that.
Red
That is
Sun.
super interesting. Like, Superman's capsule landing in, Soviet Union and like him becoming a weapon for the, like, that's
makes
super
sense.
interesting.
Yeah. And that makes sense.
But like turning, like, and that was the problem, was like, if you had flipped it, let's just say you had flipped it and Jor-El now was the, person telling him to, try and use his powers for good and do that. Like,
that's better.
That would have at least been interesting. Like, because now we flipped it. Whereas in the original, it's his, Kryptonian father saying, don't reveal your powers, don't use your powers, stay hidden. And it's his, his parents, his Earth parents, Jonathan and Martha, saying like, hey, you should, use what you have for good. These gifts that you've been given, you should use them for a good purpose. And like, that was the thing. And I'm going to go on a mini rant here, but like the moment that Man of Steel lost me was the death scene of Pa Kent, because
where he's like, just
because the whole point of Jonathan Kent dying and like in all of the history of it happening, it had always been like a heart attack. Right. And the whole point was for Superman to learn a lesson, like, there are some things I can't prevent. Yeah. There are some things I just can't change. I'm going to try and change everything I can, but there are some things I can't change. And that's part of the lesson he has to learn. And in that movie, the scenario they set up in is literally a tornado where the process has to run out to get the dog.
Yeah.
They're already to safety, and then he runs to get the dog.
And that is what can drive a lot of interest.
Like Clark that dog
I referenced to
and like people
spreading.
Wow,
Stop with you.
Think you'd
YouTube, Twitter. If you want to go to our Facebook page.
Survived, right? Yeah. So that's scenario 1. Then scenario 2, Pac
and that
and does
then the villain always gets
That's what it
tornado.
expect you to die.
And move faster than light.
done. Was it it's in Austin.
Still, no one is gonna think it
like
wasn't.
have him like kind of lean down a little bit. Where it looks like it hurt.
I was so frustrated. Like it was literally like just I was so in the movie theater just going, this is the dumbest decision I've ever had. And by the way, beyond the fact that I hate that scene, public service announcement, I'm from the Midwest. If a tornado is in your area, do not go under a bridge. That is where the wind is going to whip, and that is a very dangerous area. Go into a ditch and try to be below ground level as much as possible. Do not go under a bridge that will create a wind tunnel and you will die. So it's already a terrible scene on the fact that it's just like horribly set, and then they're teaching people the wrong lesson about survival.
So Zack Snyder, you're saying, isn't from the Midwest and knows nothing about tornadoes, is what I'm hearing.
Not only that, but like in the movies and the comic books, Ma and Pa Kent were like country folk, deep Christians. Help your fellow man, love them. You know.
Yeah.
They would have taught this to Superman. Not ignore everybody. Just do whatever.
Flip your mic because you're coming in really low. I think you're kind of covering your mic a little bit.
It might not be on either.
No, it's on. It looks. I'm picking up sound on it.
It's just.
But
There it is. There it is.
But what I'm saying is that I mean, his mother and father would have taught him like like strong values,
Down home country that's like, you know, I mean, it's truth, justice, and the American way.
Help your neighbor.
Yeah.
You know, just like I think it was
100%.
that story that Ma Kent told about Pa that he saved all these horses and da-da-da-da.
No, that was Kevin Costner in a stupid like dream vision.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, that's right.
And the point of the story was apparently don't do that because then our farm got destroyed. Like it was. All right,
So
we need to move off this
moving
topic.
off Superman
We need to
because
move
I
off
need to
this
get him off of
topic.
it. We gave him his rant, guys. So moving to another movie though, but by Christopher Nolan.
Yes,
It got pushed back finally.
It did. Tenet, which is the new Christopher Nolan movie coming out.
It's now August 19th. I think.
Yeah, I
that's
think
all,
they
or
pushed it
August
back
15th?
about a month, and I mean, we might see it continue to get pushed back. Obviously, depending on when you're watching this, we're experiencing another huge spike in cases across the United States, including here in San Antonio. Stay safe out there. Keep social distancing, washing your hands, wearing a mask, checking temperature, all of those things.
I never.
Don't go out if you're sick. Don't go out if you think you might be sick. Please, try and keep people safe.
Yeah.
Do as much as you can to avoid being in close proximity with people.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, yes, they have decided to push this back at about a month.
Yep.
We'll see if it gets pushed back any further. Obviously there's a ton of movies in, but Mulan, Black Widow, a bunch of other big movies that have been pushed back, and so I'm still really looking forward to Tenet. Christopher Nolan is probably my favorite working director. I was actually thinking about it over the past week or so, where I'm like, man, I think he's made like 10 movies so far, and like I haven't seen his first movie, which was called Following. I haven't seen that. It was kind of like a little indie movie, and it's like not available anywhere. It did not make, but I still want to see it.
Yeah.
But like every other movie he's made, he hasn't made a bad one.
No.
Like I've enjoyed everything he's made, and so I'm definitely looking forward to Tenet. It looks super interesting, but we're gonna have to wait a little longer.
Yep, just a little bit. Although we did get a trailer for Soul. Another trailer came out.
Pixar's new movie Soul, which it looks it's about a jazz musician, and
Jamie Foxx is the
Jamie
main
Foxx,
character.
who is basically we're following him in the soul world. He kind of has
He went to the
what
Soul
appears to be
Society.
in an accident. His soul gets separated from his body, just as he's on the cusp of, like achieving his lifelong dream. It seems like.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the trailers, and then he ends up in this soul world, and I believe it's kind of a fight to get back to his life.
Yep.
So that he can, do what's most important to him. And that seems to be music and family. So
exactly. So it'll be interesting. I can't wait to see that one.
Similar themes to Coco, it seems like, which was also about music and family, and kind of in that one it was about the Day of the Dead, and it was he was in like kind of the world of the undead or the dead, whatever
he's in
you
the world
call
of the
it. And so this is now like the soul world. Again, it's kind of an out-of-body experience.
Soul society.
Very tied to music and family and those types of things.
Yeah.
So it looks super interesting. I like Pixar a lot. I think they make a lot of really good emotional movies. This movie will probably have at least one moment in it that'll make me at least try to hold back those tears, and we'll see how successful I am.
Not at all. So we'll see how that is.
Sometimes.
So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the news for today. That was everything that we've had for Geek News today. Definitely check out all those stories, see what we found. Some of them are on our Facebook page. Check them out as well from there. And then I know we have a question, too.
We do.
That we will get to in a second. Okay, guys. So, like I said, we have at least one question.
Yeah, my buddy.
I don't even know it.
My buddy RJ sent in a question.
Hey, RJ.
And we were actually having a different conversation. We were talking about Batman movies.
Okay.
Right, and he threw out, and we're not going to go over this whole thing, but he was like, "What are your top 10 Batman movies?" And it's like live action, animated, straight to DVD. It could be all of those things. So
that was a lot.
there's a lot of Batman movies out there, right?
Do it that way.
So like for me, it was really easy. I was like, okay, Dark Knight, Batman Begins are really the only two live action movies that I really care about.
Okay.
When it comes to animated, I love Under the Red Hood and I love Mask of the Phantasm. And then, the Lego Batman movie I thought was pretty good. So like I got to 5 and then I was like, after that, I don't really care.
Yeah.
And other than Batman and Robin is the absolute worst. So
that was the first one by Schumacher, right?
No, that was the last one with Schumacher.
Okay.
That was the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger and George
and
Clooney, which, by the way, George Clooney to me, remains the only actor to have gotten neither part of Batman's personality right. He was not a good Bruce Wayne, nor was he a good Batman. Like, I feel like Michael Keaton was a good Bruce Wayne, although I didn't necessarily care for his Batman portrayal. I thought that Val Kilmer actually was a very interesting Bruce Wayne, and I thought he was pretty decent as Batman. The movie itself is not great, but I think he's good. I think Christian Bale is a really good Batman. I'm not as sold on his Bruce Wayne.
I'll give you that.
But I think George Clooney is terrible at both. I think Ben Affleck is a fine Batman. It's a weird version of it again. I don't think we get much time with him as Bruce Wayne, so it's kind of hard to evaluate that. But I think his Batman character is just fine. But
Chubby
I think
Batman.
George Clooney is the worst.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so favorite Batman movies, go for it.
So Dark Knight.
Yep.
I mean, that's
Obviously.
I love Heath.
Obviously.
I love Heath Ledger.
Yeah, and the big problem with that movie is that it's a Joker movie.
Yeah, it really is. It's a Joker movie, not a Batman movie.
Right.
And the thing with Batman, the way I've always looked at it, it's not about Batman as much as it is about all his villains.
In many cases, yes.
I think we talked about this before. A Serious House on a Serious Earth. If you read that comic, okay, I would recommend that for not just you but our listeners. If you haven't read it, check that one out. It's a Batman, a Serious House on a Serious Earth. They kind of hint at how all the villains are different personalities of Batman, really.
Yeah. Okay.
And they go into this is why the villains are created, because there's a psychologist he's talking to, and he breaks it down. He's like, Two-Face is like where you're good and evil, but Joker is like just what would even
the
Joker
chaos.
says it. Yeah, and Joker tells him we're the opposite side of the same coin.
Right.
And everybody else, Poison Ivy, etc., Mad Hatter. It's a really interesting storyline. The artwork's a little hard to read to me.
Okay.
But I'd recommend the story.
Okay.
So I would go Dark Knight Rises. I would go Batman Begins too. I really like Batman Begins.
When you say Dark Knight Rises, you're talking about the Nolan. Okay.
The Dark Knight movie.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Dark Knight. Then I'd go Batman Begins.
Mm-hmm.
I would go after that. I would actually put both Michael Keaton movies up with Tim Burton.
Yeah.
So either order,
They're
I would
fine.
probably go with Joker, Jack Nicholson first,
Okay.
and then I'd go Catwoman and Penguin.
Yeah.
I thought
Batman Returns.
those two were good. Then I put Batman Begins after that because not Batman Begins. Dark Knight Rises with Bane.
Yeah.
The movie to me has a lot of issues, but hearing later on what Nolan wanted to do with everything makes me wonder where it would have gone.
Wish Heath Ledger had not died, because that
that movie would have been completely different.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
So I didn't like the first 2 acts. I actually enjoyed. The last act I didn't.
Yeah,
I think that's where I fall off from that movie.
I'm with you.
So then after
there's a lot of logic issues in that movie. I mean, like just to get into one minor one, you know, like Bane takes over the world, or takes over Gotham by like hacking into the stock exchange and turning Bruce Wayne Payne. But it's like, everyone knows that's what you did. None of those trades would be legal. Like just because you happen to force them through, literally the next day they're going to be like, you did that illegally. And so no, Bruce Wayne is not penniless. Like that's not how this works.
That's not how any of this works.
So like that's just one small minor logic problem. That movie is full of them.
It is. And like I said, that's why I think the third act is so weak to me. It's just a terrible.
The opening action scene though on the airplane, is freaking awesome.
That one, and I do like the first fight scenes we get when he comes back as Batman. I like the fact that they show him he's been around for a while. His knees messed up.
Yep.
Because to me, after doing that so long, it takes a toll on your body.
Absolutely.
So I like that he has to.
It was an interesting concept. I think it was just poorly executed.
Yeah. So let's see. That'd be 5. And then, so you said cartoon ones we can go
you can throw your animated ones in.
Okay, so I did like a Killing Joke after the first 30 minutes.
Right.
But it's still a good story.
Don't count the first.
Yeah, don't count
terrible
the first 30 minutes.
Part.
I literally fast forward to that part when I have to watch it because it's terrible. But I love the comic book itself, so I have to put that up there.
The comic is great, and I think what was really disappointing to me about that, beyond just the opening add-on stuff that they did, is that they didn't really do anything new with it.
No, they didn't.
And I'm not saying that you have to all the time, but it just it felt like the translation was kind of stale. There are some, Under the Red Hood was adapted, and I think that's a great adaptation.
Right.
I thought they did a really good job with it. They've adapted, Year One. They adapted The Dark Knight Returns. They've adapted Hush. They've adapted all these different, comic storylines.
Yeah.
And I thought, for me, unfortunately, The Killing Joke was one of those that was just kind of, it was I'm trying to think of the word.
It's dated.
Well, it wasn't
really
even
is,
just that.
so.
It was just kind of lifeless.
Yeah.
It was kind of like you didn't do anything to make this stand out from the comic.
And I'll give you that 110%. Like I said, the first 30 minutes fast forward.
Yeah.
And I think the other reason I really truly love it is Mark Hamill only came back to do that. He was retired. He was done. And he's like, if you guys want to make this movie, I'll come back.
Yeah.
And then when the people said, hey, we heard this movie is happening. Are you even in it? And he's like, I don't know. He played it off so well.
Yeah.
No one knew he was in it. It's like, oh, Mark Hamill's back. And it's just like, you get your one last ride. And I think that's why, for me, it's a last ride. Almost like the swan song for Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
I think that's why I like it.
It wasn't. It was the same Batman that was in the series
it is
too,
Kevin
right?
Conroy, I believe.
Yeah,
I believe it is still him. So that would be my number 6, but it could move easily. One could, My number 7 is gonna go outside of Batman, but still be Batman. Batman Beyond: The Rise of the Joker, The Return of the Joker, I believe.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
So that one would be my number 7 because I personally love Batman Beyond. He's probably my favorite Batman. Terry McGinnis as Batman.
Yeah.
I'll always say he's better than Bruce. I'm sorry, but that's fanboys will come at me, but I love him. So that's my 7.
I'll give out your address later.
I like it because
is he the one that comes out in that Crisis on Infinite Earths?
He came out in, what was it? It was a newer one, but I don't know if it was Crisis. But Terry does die in it.
No, in this one it's Batwoman goes looking for Bruce, and then she walks into a mansion and there's some guy wearing a Hawaiian shirt and is all unbuttoned.
No, that's not Terry.
Like Terry. No.
And then it's the guy who voices Batman.
Kevin Conroy.
Yeah, he's.
No. That was,
you mean
you're
the
talking
TV
about,
show?
That was in Crisis on
no.
Infinite Earths, but he was playing an older Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, no, not him. This one, Batman Beyond, was an old cartoon from the early 2000s.
Yeah, I know, but
and
I'm saying, was it supposed to be?
Terry he's supposed to be the Bruce of that timeline. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Like that.
I don't know.
They kind of hinted that he's the Bruce of the Batman Beyond timeline
because he becomes he becomes like the surrogate son, right? Like the guy that comes back for Bruce.
I think so.
A little bit, yeah. He kind of takes on the Alfred role a little bit with Terry, but
I love Terry. I love the whole storyline. So, if you don't know that one, Joker does return after being dead for years.
Right.
Through, I believe he takes over Tim Drake. Yeah, because not Dick Grayson, it's not Jason. Yeah, it's Tim Drake. He takes over Tim Drake. So I thought that whole storyline was really cool.
Okay.
So that'd be my number 7. Number 8 would be Mask of the Phantasm. I actually really, really thought that was a good, solid animated Batman movie.
It's great.
Let me see what else is out there. Under the Red. Oh yeah, I would go with. Is it Under the Red Hood? Yeah, Under the Red Hood, because that's where Jason Todd dies, right, in that one, I believe.
No, that's the one where he comes back. I mean,
did they talk about the death in that one then? Because there's one
they
that I know
reference it, yes, but
is that the one where Joker's like, let's take a picture with the crowbar? You know, me, you, and the crowbar, the kid and the crowbar, and then like there's a whole little like 30 seconds where he's joking like that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, that's that one.
He kills him in that one.
Okay, he does.
Yeah, he does kill him, but the story is about him.
It's about him returning
coming back,
okay.
basically. Yeah.
That one I thought was funny because I thought they did Joker right.
Yep.
And I liked how they did handle Batman and Jason a little bit, but how they handled him and the Joker, like why he doesn't want to kill the Joker.
Yeah.
And then number 10, because I have to throw it up there, I have to.
I don't know what you're gonna say. So.
Adam West. Then they did the little movie.
I love the 1966 Adam West movie.
He's my number 10.
It's so fantastic.
Well, it was just like a made-for-TV movie, wasn't it, or something? I think. Or did it ever hit DVD?
I mean, it is now. Like, you can buy it, but I own it. Like I love that movie.
Yeah,
and it's got
so
like
corny though.
It's got one of my all-time favorite Batman scenes ever.
Yeah.
Because it's early in the movie, you know, like this. The movie opens with the shark attack, where he's got the shark repellent bat spray, and it's so dumb. But after that, they're in like the mayor's office, and it's the mayor and it's Commissioner Gordon and it's Batman and it's Robin, and they're trying to figure out who came up with this dastardly plot, and it's literally they go through this whole thing, and my favorite is they pull up the computer to see like what criminals are at large, and I'm like, wow, Batman and the police commissioner don't know which criminals are like on the loose. This is terrible. But they literally go through it, and it's just a string of terrible jokes where, because it's like, that that shark was really pulling my leg. The Joker, it happened at sea. C for Catwoman. It's like something about this is fishy. The Penguin, and then it's like the final one is it all adds up to a sinister riddle. Riddler. And you're like, oh my god, that scene is so bad, but it's so fantastic.
And that's why it's number 10, because it's terrible, but it's so bad, it's so terrible, it's good.
And like the Rube Goldberg where he's like running around with a bomb, and it's and he there's nuns, and then there's school children, and there's like all these, and he can't get rid of it. And finally, he walks up to the dock, and he's about to throw it over into the water, and there's like a school of ducks or whatever, and he's like, some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. And you're like, what?
And that's why I love watching it.
It's so dumb.
I used to watch it a lot because it would, it was syndicated, so it would come up on TV a lot.
It's fantastic.
And I was like, this is so stupid, but I can't stop watching it because it's so corny. I
used to
love
like the
it.
vehicles because they used to have like the bat helicopter.
Oh yeah, the bat copter.
The Batmobile was cool looking though.
Well, and like the part of the reason they even made the movie was because they wanted all these new toys and stuff for season 2, because the first season, like that movie came out after the first season, and so they wanted to have like a Batcopter, and they wanted to have all these things, but they couldn't get it greenlit for the budget for the TV show, so they decided to make a movie and create all those things for it, so then they could reuse those same props in the season.
Smart.
And I'm like these guys, this is a freaking
Think
genius.
around it. But yeah,
so good.
That'd be my top 10.
Yeah,
I'll go with those.
all right. I didn't know you were gonna go through the whole 10, but I appreciate that.
I was like, because I gotta fill it out. I mean, you asked me, I'm gonna fill it out.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, what
alright.
movies are here? So as you were saying it, I was like thinking, okay, I was like, all right.
Yeah.
But it's sad. I think about it too, like how many terrible Batman movies there were right off the top of my head, and how many just don't make the cut for me.
Well, and that's like The Dark Knight Returns being the, I'm not a huge fan of that comic, and so, like, even though I think it's adapted well and they did it in 2 parts, like I think it's fine. I don't really care for that comic. So that movie, like I've seen it once and I'll never see it again.
I think I've seen it 2 or 3 times, but the comic books are just better.
Yeah.
But then I don't like Azrael. I never liked him.
I don't like him either.
So.
Yeah. What about you, Frank? Any that we didn't mention that you're like, you guys should have talked about this one?
My number 1 was Doom.
Oh, I forgot about Doom.
And then
Justice League Doom.
How
But
dare
the
you.
Justice League Doom. So do you go for that as
I
Batman?
mean,
well,
you
yeah,
can-
because
you
it's
throw it
the
in there.
Batman is the one that the story revolves around.
That's true. It's his plans.
His
So
plans.
yeah, that makes sense.
And
Okay.
then Public Enemy, which is Batman, Superman.
That one's
Yeah.
a good one.
There's, I mean, there's like the Arkham. There's a couple of Arkham movies. There's, I think, the Batman Ninja that came out just a few years ago. I didn't see that one.
Samurai. I think?
No, it's called Batman Ninja.
Yeah,
thought he was a
Batman
samurai.
Ninja. No, Batman Ninja. I really didn't like that one. I did
Yeah.
like the Escape from Arkham,
Oh, okay.
which it kind of revolves around the Suicide Squad, not really Batman. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Batman is in
Oh,
it.
is that where? I may be confusing it with the other one, but the Reverse Flash,
Yes.
where he's dying.
Yes.
Okay, I've seen that one.
No, that one's Suicide Squad Hell something.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, this one's called Escape from Arkham.
Okay,
Yeah,
I got
one of
it.
the other ones that RJ threw out was Gotham by Gaslight. He really liked that one.
That one was
I haven't
good.
seen that one
That
yet.
one was
so-
more like a Jack the Ripper kind of.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that sounds fun.
and then
about
there's like the one of there's an animated like Mr. Freeze one that apparently is really good. It's an older one, but I haven't seen that one either. So I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
remember it, but not enough to say I can recite it.
Yeah. So
Sounds cool.
Batman's got a lot of movies.
He does.
A lot of. I mean, DC animation has pumped out a lot of stuff
Yeah.
and a lot of Batman stuff because he's probably, I would say, he's their most popular character.
I think it's like either Batman, Superman. I think Wonder Woman's only had like 2.
Yeah, I mean,
She's had a couple animated, I think.
So two,
there's been a
two
lot of
major
Justice
ones.
League
Yeah.
stuff, but
Yeah, there's
in
a
terms of
ton
like
of them.
solo characters, I think Batman's probably got the most. I would guess.
Batman and Superman's right behind him because lately, the last few years, they've been pumping out a lot of Superman movies.
Yeah.
But to me, the Superman ones aren't as good because, like,
Superman.
know.
Superman is more. I mean, it's the same thing with like Captain America and the MCU. It's really hard to do that character because they are, they don't have those flaws or those dark sides or those types of things, and so you can do it. I mean, if you
Yeah.
look at the MCU, you absolutely can do high quality, movies about these characters that don't compromise their ideals and they don't have that dark place or that dark mentality and those types of things.
Yeah.
But it's harder. Like
It
with
is.
with Batman, you can tell a bunch of stories where he goes crazy or
Yeah.
where he's trying to maintain his sanity or like all those things. Whereas with Superman, number one, because of his power set,
Yeah.
it's hard to find a villain that's going to be compelling.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, he doesn't typically have a great moral conflict,
Yeah.
and that is what can drive a lot of interesting stories. And that's why, something like Red Sun is so interesting because now you basically you put a completely different morality on Superman, and now we're trying to reconcile that
Yeah.
with what we've always known, and that's
See-
super interesting.
Well, see, and it's funny though, because in the Red Sun, he's got the same morality, but only
for
different
Russia.
views.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's like he was like
Lord of the
freedom,
Ocean.
justice, the American way, and this one it's like communism. I'm working for the people. The people,
Yeah.
they're my people.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have to do for my people.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, and the problem with Superman, and I think we've talked about this on maybe on another podcast, you can't put just any villain against him. Like, you can't put Joker against him because
Right.
it's like Joker's like, I put a bomb, or it's gone. Like,
Yeah.
oh crap.
No, it's-
So you always have to have almost world-ending events
Right.
every comic just for Superman to stay interesting. But
or
then that
or
burns
you
out
have to
too.
depower him. Like those are
Exactly.
your only two options, and
And
that's really hard.
Well, that's what I
Yeah.
like about that Apocalypse War. That Apocalypse doesn't. I mean, Darkseid doesn't kill Superman,
Mhm.
but he does like inject him with like kryptonite blood
Yeah,
to where he no longer has powers. Like,
exactly.
and he goes, you know what? I did this so that you can watch your world burn
I still need to watch that.
and not be able to do a damn thing about it because
Yeah.
he has no more power.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And
the
which
problem he always
which is
suffers from.
always one of those villain tropes is I wanna make you watch, and then the villain always gets defeated.
I mean, that's why they have sharks with freaking laser beams on their heads.
Yeah. Well, it's James Bond. Do you expect me to? Do you expect me to talk?
die? Or you expect me to
No,
talk?
Mr. Bond.
I expect you to die.
Greatest,
Love
greatest.
it.
But I'm also
Diamond
gonna
Time
walk
forever.
away and leave you here.
Right?
You're
It's like, okay, bye.
Why don't you just shoot him in the head then?
Right, you have them tied up and everything. You have henchmen standing
It's
right
like,
there. Done. All right.
Was it?
movie over.
Was it? It's in Austin Powers. He's like,
Yeah.
I can go to my room.
Yeah.
I have a
He
gun in
comments
the
on it.
Scotty.
and bam, right now.
He's gonna escape. He's gonna escape.
No, Scotty. That's not how we work.
Yeah, which obviously they're making fun of all those James Bond movies, and I mean that's
funny.
I mean even like something like The Incredibles, they kind of make that sly reference to it where he's like, "You got me monologuing," It's like, and you're like, "That's okay." I see what you're doing. This is good stuff.
It was funny.
Yeah.
So, well, I enjoyed that question though. That was a good one.
Yeah.
So if y'all want to leave questions,
Ready to do a
below
top
too.
10 Spider-Man?
Oh
Oh
God.
God. There's not
Maybe
that
next
enough-
time.
Yeah,
Maybe.
there's not enough time.
There's
So,
not enough time, or there's not enough good ones.
Both.
Oh,
Both. I'll even admit to that. Both. So definitely ask this
1970s.
question.
yeah,
God.
right.
Italian Spider-Man.
It's just that gif where it's just
Spider.
Spider-Man's just pointing it.
Point. Stop pointing at me. You pointed first. No, you. Anyway, guys.
Yeah,
We're trying to end the
that's
show.
all of our politicians right now that are like, it's your fault that coronavirus is spreading.
Stop
No, it's
pointing at me,
you.
it's you.
It's like
Why are you pointing at me? Because you pointed first.
it's everybody. Yeah.
It is. So, guys, definitely
Stay safe.
Stay safe. Ask questions below in any of our comments. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, Twitch,
Definitely.
if you want to go to our Facebook page, official GYGO is our name. You can look us up on any platform to find us. Or if you want to comment on our podcast, you can as well. But definitely let us know what questions you want to ask. We'll gladly answer them for you. We love keeping these interactions going. So definitely glad that you guys are doing this. And
Check out our ongoing YouTube series,
the MCU.
the Marvel Cinematic Universe retrospective. We've got woo
Yeah. So
Black Panther.
Was supposed to be last week, but I had audio or video issues. So they'll
Yep.
come out this week.
It's coming out this week, and then after that, we will get to Avengers Infinity War. Whoa!
So, guys, stay geeky.
getting there.
Enjoy. We're almost done with this other series, and I hope you enjoy it. And maybe we'll find out what series we'll do next soon if we do another one.
Yeah, maybe.
So, y'all stay geeky.